Hi, I'm Melanie and welcome to my channel. I'm going to be talking about true crime, cryptozoology, and I'm also just going to be around, so that'll be fun. If you're interested in any of that, feel free to subscribe, like the video, and today I'm going to be talking about the true crime case of Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr., as well as the paranormal case of the Amityville horror. Ronald Joseph DeFeo Jr. was born September 26, 1951 in Brooklyn, New York, to Louise DeFeo and Ronald DeFeo Sr. Ronald Sr. was a successful car salesman at Louise's father's Brooklyn Buick dealership. But he was also a domineering authority figure that often got into fights with his family members, and Butch was often the frequent target of these fights. There were 5 DeFeo children in 1974. There was 23-year-old Ronald, also known as Butch. Then there was 18-year-old Dawn, then 13-year-old Allison, 12-year-old Mark, and 7-year-old John. Butch was known to be an overweight child, so he was often the victim of bullying in school. As he grew up, he became a lot more violent towards his friends as well as his father. And because of this behavior, Butch's family encouraged him to get help, but he refused. So instead of using the money that they were going to use on like therapy or medication, they spent it on gifts for Butch, like a $14,000 speedboat, just to keep him happy. So not only did they give him gifts, but they also gave him money, and that made his issues worse. Butch became a frequent LSD and heroin user at the age of 17. Butch was expelled from school for violent outbursts, but this did not stop his parents' gift giving. Butch was given a job at his grandfather's dealership, and he was given a salary whether or not he was actually there. He reportedly used this money to fix a car that his parents had given him, and also on guns, drugs, and alcohol. Butch only got more violent with time, threatening a friend as well as attempting to shoot his father with a rifle. In 1974, Butch believed that he was not earning enough money at the car dealership, so he started embezzling. And then he decided he still wasn't getting enough money, so he planned a robbery with a friend, and if they were successful, they were going to split the money down the middle. And it was successful until the police showed up. Ronald Sr. had suspected Butch of this robbery, but when he confronted him about it, Butch threatened to kill him, so that's where that conversation ended. On November 13th, 1974, Butch entered a bar called Henry's and announced to the patrons that he had come home to find his whole family dead. Several patrons, including Butch and his friend Joey Yeswit, went back to the house to see the crime. And upon seeing the scene, Joey called the Suffolk County Police Department. When police arrived, Butch told them that he believed mafia hitman Louis Fellini had been behind the attack. According to Butch, he couldn't sleep the night before, so he went to work early, called his father when he hadn't turned up to work, then spent the rest of the day with friends because he couldn't get in touch with anybody from his family, and upon returning home, found his family shot dead. The police noticed that the DeFeos were all in their pajamas when they were shot, so the crime definitely happened early in the morning, meaning Butch was home at the time of the murders. Also, upon searching the DeFeo home, police found an empty box for a recently purchased .35 caliber Marlin rifle in Butch's bedroom, a gun that was positively identified as the murder weapon. When questioned about this, Butch changed his story and told the police that Louis Fellini and 2 other hitmen had arrived at his house, dragged him room to room as they murdered his family. Butch then inadvertently implicated himself in the murders by telling the police that he had collected and disposed of evidence from the crime scene. Eventually, Butch crumbled under his lies and confessed to the murders. Quote, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast." He told the police that the voices in his head had told him to murder his family. After 3 decades in prison, Butch's story has changed yet again, implicating his sister Dawn in the murders of his 3 youngest siblings, Allison, Mark, and John. In 1975, Butch was sentenced to 6 consecutive 25-year prison terms, or 150 years, at Green Haven Correctional Facility in Beekman, New York, ineligible for parole. On March 12, 2021, Ronald DeFeo Jr. passed away at the Albany Medical Center at the age of 69. His cause of death has not yet been publicized. On July 4th, 1975, George and Kathy Lutz were married. After both being married once before and Kathy having 3 children already, 9-year-old Daniel, 7-year-old Christopher, and 5-year-old Melissa, also known as Missy. 13 months after the DeFeo family murders, the Lutzes moved into 112 Ocean Avenue on December 18th, 1975, a day on which Kathy invited a Catholic priest over to bless the house. According to the priest, he was in the sewing room and it was freezing cold. He was sprinkling holy water when a voice behind him said, The priest also said that he felt a slap to the face when there was nobody there. Later, he would find unexplained blisters on his hand and become ill with flu-like symptoms. George has stated, quote, There were odors in the house that came and went. There were sounds. The front door would slam shut in the middle of the night. I couldn't get warm in the house for many days, unquote, despite keeping the fireplace lit at all times. Upon awakening in the mornings, the Lutzes would find strange, gelatinous drops on the carpet. George also claimed that at times Kathy would transform into an old woman with the face, hair, and wrinkles of a 90-year-old. George also claims that he would mysteriously wake up at 3:15 in the morning almost every day, around the same time the DeFeo murders were believed to have happened. One night, he heard his children's bed, quote, slamming up and down on the floor, unquote, above him, but he was unable to do anything because he was immobilized in bed by an unseen force. Later that night, George woke to see Kathy levitating and moving across the bed. On January 14th, 1976, just 28 days after moving in, the Lutzes fled the house on Ocean Avenue with nothing but the clothes on their backs. George believes something horrible would have happened if they hadn't. In 2013, Danny Lutz came forward with a story that many hadn't heard. According to Danny, George Lutz practiced Satanism and magic, and once witnessed George telekinetically move a spanner wrench in their garage before even moving to Amityville. Quote, George's beliefs and practices triggered what was going on in the house. It was like a magic trick gone bad that you couldn't shut off. Within 2 hours of moving into 112 Ocean Avenue, Danny immediately felt uneasy and went upstairs to unpack a box, which was swarming with flies. When he went to show his mother, all the flies were gone. Danny was outside one night and he recalls seeing, quote, a cartoon character of an angry pig with wolf-like teeth and laser beam red eyes, unquote, looking down at him from Missy's bedroom window. Upon investigating, he found an empty rocking chair rocking back and forth. Another time, Danny got his hand caught in a window after it mysteriously slammed down on him. When his mother was tending to his wound in the kitchen, an invisible spirit entered, knocking over a knife and leaving an impression in the chair. On the night that the Lutzes fled the home, Danny and Christopher, quote, shared a levitating experience, unquote, in their beds. Quote, we both woke up with our footboards smashing each other and banging off the ceiling, unquote. Bobby Sylvester, Danny's cousin, said there was always something off-putting about George, and the family had to tread lightly around him. Quote, as a child, you realized there was something not right about this man, something not good, unquote. Danny has since started a documentary called My Amityville Horror, and Christopher is reportedly writing a book about the ordeal, while Missy seems to prefer not to speak on the matter. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I, of course, do not mean any disrespect to anybody involved in this case, in either of these cases. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like my content, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.